Hey, good morning, Darrell. This is going to be a quick demo video for you for your Obiwan Kenobi Desert Wanderer saber with a brass mix chassis that I designed for you. Thank you a lot for your patience during this process and getting the parts all printed and sent back to me. We're going to go over my desk and take a look at this guy because there are some specific ways that you need to use it and there's a lot to show off. All right, so let me know if you have any questions at the end and I will get this out in the mail to you today. Thanks, man. All right, Darrell, we've got your Desert Wanderer right here. Thank you very much for your patience. I know when I do chassis like this, it takes a little while to get the parts printed and back to me. You've been very patient. You haven't reached out to me at all. I've tried to keep you in the loop though, and you've been very easy to work with, so I do appreciate that. This is installed with a brass mix chassis that I came up with for you. It is a 2-button setup, so your power switch is going to be this little guy right here, and your auxiliary is this guy right here. These switches on this particular saber have always been very unique and a little bit sensitive. If you're not very careful and you screw them in too much, they won't actuate the switches on the chassis. If you try to loosen them too much, they'll pop off. I've got them right where they need to be right now. I don't know if you'll pick that up on camera, but there's a nice tactile feel on each of these. All right, you've got a KR Sabers lit PCB in there, so we'll see that light up here in a second. To get to your chassis, you just want to unscrew the pommel. This booster section will unscrew if you're not careful. You don't have to unscrew that though. I prefer to just leave it on. So when I'm taking the pommel off, I'll just kind of grab this and put my thumb right here on the Covertech and just twist the pommel like this. The pommel is pretty tight on the chassis. It is a pretty tight fit, but it'll come right off. All right, so we'll unscrew this guy. A couple threads here. Pull that guy off. You'll see your chassis right here. You want to very carefully pull it out. All right, just do it over a table or something. Take your time, pull it out. It is a little bit tight in there, but it comes out just fine. So this is what I came up with for you. Of course, your 2 switches right there for power and activation, or power and auxiliary rather. Your crystal chamber. So this does have a real quartz crystal in it with its own Neopixel accent. All right, brass. 2 brass accents here. You got a brass accent here with a Smuggler's Outpost 28mm Elite speaker. This is your board cover and access to your kill switch. So you could reach in here with a pair of tweezers or something and you can move that kill switch either way. If you want to pop the board cover off to make any changes, I just kind of take my tweezers, put them in here and just kind of pop it off like that. Again, this is a tight fit. I had all these magnets on here to line up with these magnets that I put in here. A 90-degree data cable does fit in there without moving the board, and you can grab your SD card with a pair of tweezers and pull it out. Just in case you have trouble doing that, I did make this a press fit and I didn't glue it in, so you can pop the board up like that if you wish and then pop it back down. I did not have to do that here, but just in case. All right, so we're gonna put this back on. When you do, make sure you put it down nice and straight and then push it all the way down. There's a lip on each side of the chassis that this board cover catches on so that the magnets grab and then the board is nice and tight, all right? Or the board cover is nice and tight. So that's your board cover. Coming down here, this is your battery cover. I put a few greeblies in there. You can just come over here with your thumb, pop this off. Again, we've got about 8 magnets right here that make contact with these 8 magnets, and it takes an 18650 battery. I am using a Keep Power battery that I took the sticker off. You will notice there's some wires in the chassis, so I had to drop the battery down inside of the chassis so that I could fit a board cover over it, and it was already pretty thin up here. This is where we have a little bit of a diameter change. You can kind of see that lip right there, and in order to do that, I got rid of the space where I normally hide my wires, but I tried to run them nice and neat all the way in here. I did glue them down so they will never move in a straight line, so I made that as neat as I possibly could. All right, I'm gonna take that little strip there in the battery that you could see underneath the wrap. I'm gonna put that right off to the side. So it's about right here, okay? Snap that down nice and tough. Now you can come over here and put your battery cover right on. It'll snap down and it's not going anywhere, all right? We've got a blade side PCB here. I put one more little brass accent ring right here onto the chassis. that makes contact with a 7-pin PCB system in there that doesn't come out. All right, so let's come over here and flip the kill switch on.
I don't think your voice can help you. I'm just going alone.
This is your Kyberphonic OB4 V2 sound font. A copy of the config file is on the SD card. As you can see, I've got your crystal kind of pulsing. Actually, I think this is a heartbeat when the saber's off, and then when it's on, it will match the blade. Right? And then you've got a twist off feature. Now, when putting this chassis back into the saber, you can come over here, and then when you get to about right here, you're going to want to pay attention to where your switch cradle is. So you see how I got this switch cradle is lined up with my plunger switches. You want to make sure that you follow that suit all the way down. And a good way to know, also have a nice visual effect that your switches are lined up, is this little groove here. You know, I've got all these grooves here, but the one that's right in the middle of this greebly, so this one right here, that should make a straight line right to your switches. All right, so if it doesn't, twist it a little bit. We can hit power from here. Get that lit up in your PCB auxiliary. We'll turn it off like that. Now, when putting your pommel on, it is pretty tight, so I'm going to show you how to do this. Put it on here, screw it all the way in. When you get it all the way down, the pommel's nice and tight. Just back it up a little bit of a turn, like that. Hardly anything. I left that switch groove in the chassis a hair longer or a hair wider than the actual plunger switches, so that it wasn't such a tight fit on these, but the trade-off there is to just back this pommel up a touch. All right, when you've got this all locked in, hit power. Just a nice smooth swing, auxiliary. All right, this of course is the emitter that you'll use, and when you unscrew it, put your 2 fingers here, because you don't, I tightened this piece up hand tight, as tight as I could, but you don't want this piece coming out. So grab this up top here and twist this guy. All right, we'll take this out. This is the piece that you use for display. Of course, you've got your blade plug here. You can put it down here. You may not be able to see that from the picture, but it does not touch the pins, so you're good there. But we'll put that off to the side. When you want to put a blade in it, you're going to want to use this guy. All right, so just take this and screw it on. No need to manhandle it on, just make sure it's snug. And then this is the piece that gives you a little extra blade depth, and then you've got your random blade retention screws. You've got 3 of them. All right, they're equally spaced apart. I'm not going to use those. I'm just going to hold the blade in for now, but it does take a 1-inch blade, so I'll just hold that in and fire it up and show you that it works. We'll lie up a blade. All right, turn that off just like that. And then when we're done, we're going to come over here again and just take the chassis back out like we did at the beginning of the video. All right, so unscrew this guy, do it a little faster this time. Kind of pull that out carefully, straight out. You don't want to twist the chassis, but just pull it straight out. We'll turn this on. Right. Come over here and flip the switch, and it kills power just like it should. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this battery out. This is my janky test battery, but it still works and I love it. So I'll put it off to the side, put the battery cover back on. It should snap right on just like that. I'll put this back together off camera, but that is basically how you use and operate your Obiwan Desert Wanderer. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will get this out in the mail to you today. Thanks, man.